Yes, hello and welcome to Declutter your linen press, your utility press, your utility cupboard, whatever you might like to call it. Looking forward to hearing from you in the chat box, and if you're watching on replay on YouTube, you can use the comments as well as we're going along and let us know, what do you call this space where we keep all of our linen? Where do you keep your towels and your sheets and your blankets and those sorts of things? Here in Australia, or for me, I don't even know if it's just an Australian thing where I've got it from, I call it a linen press. And so that's what I'll be calling it today. You can call it what you want, but that's what we are going to be talking about: decluttering and organizing all the things that go into that cupboard where we keep our linen. I will be referring to the chat as we're going along. We're going to be going for about an hour today. As I said, it will be put on YouTube after the session today. So you are welcome to unmute yourself and ask questions as you go along, but your beautiful face will be recorded and be on YouTube. So if you want to be famous, go ahead. But otherwise, we're just going to use the chat and as we're asking questions as we are going along. So I'm going to flick to the next screen and continue our welcome. Again, thank you for making the time to be here and for joining us on this journey. As I said, let us know in the chat where you are joining us from. What are you wanting to learn today? What is the struggle? What's the challenge with the linen in your house? We'd really love to know what you're grappling with so that we can make sure that we address it today. As I said, we're going to be here for about an hour. We'd love to know why you think you need to declutter your linen press, and do you really need to? Maybe it looks all right. Maybe you've just sort of made the issue a bit bigger in your own mind. And if I went to your house, maybe you would say it was, I would say it was fine. Let's talk about that as we go along today. And at the end of the session, I'm going to share another workshop that we got coming up in a couple of weeks, all about getting the kids to school on time. If you have kids or grandkids, you're responsible for getting them to school on time. Come along to that. I'll share the details at the end of the session. And also we've got a one-on-one session I run on Zoom for you to stay focused and reach your decluttering goals. So I'll share those details at the end after we've spoken all about our linen press. So my business, Space and Time, is all about making conscious choices about how we use our space and our time. So we're creating systems to improve our lives and making those deliberate choices that suit you in the here and the now. Might be something that your mum taught you many years ago. Maybe it doesn't suit you anymore. So let's make those conscious decisions to be able to set up things in your home so it's decluttered, it's organized, and it works for you and your family. We'd love to hear what's your intention today. Pop that in the chat. And that helps us to understand, and so that I can cover those things today, but also we are more likely to reach our intentions if they are clear. We've got to call it out to the universe and say, I am an organized person, and the universe will help us bring those things into our lives that help us become organized. So let us know what those things are that you are trying to achieve. Just having a quick look. Karen says, good evening, everyone. Thanks, Karen. Great to have you on our session here. Morning for us here in Melbourne in Australia, but evening for a lot of you guys in the States. But awesome that many people can join us today. So here I am. There are a few people online today that have been to a number of my sessions. So thank you all for coming along. My name is Julie Cliff. I'm a professional organizer and declutter coach. I call myself a professional organizer when I'm working hands-on here in Melbourne with people and helping them do the work to declutter and organize their homes. But then I call myself a declutter coach when I'm teaching you the skills, I'm coaching you on a session like today so that you can learn the skills and then go on to do the decluttering work in your home yourselves. And these workshops are each fortnight that we're running. So keep an eye on the Facebook page and those sorts of things to be able to find out what sessions are coming up next. Because doing these little parts of the home, little bits at a time. We did paperwork 2 weeks ago, linen press today, and we'll do other areas of the home over the coming weeks, so that we can get on top of our clutter at home. So yes, I've been running my own business for coming up to 8 years. That reminds me, in about a week's time, the business is going to turn 8. So Mary Lou, we need to keep that in mind as well, to have some celebrations around that. And I am married and have 2 boys, and they're both at school today, one in year 8 and one in year 12, which is his final year of school. So that is who I am. And I was an executive assistant and administrator for 20 years before joining and creating my own business. And that's how I became to be a professional organizer, because helping others get and stay organized was something that I really enjoyed doing. And now I do that in their homes every day. It's my day job. I'm going to help somebody in their laundry this afternoon to help them get organized. If you've been to one of my sessions before, you would be very familiar with my 6 steps of the space and time organizing system. So step 1 is stop the stuff. And we will talk about how we can stop more stuff coming into the linen press shortly. And then we will also talk about step 2, which is your commitment to being organized. Step 3 is sort the stuff, and sorting linen is a very good, fun job to do. Step 4, things you no longer need, which is the decluttering step. Then we'll go step 5, which is easy storage. We'll give you some good solutions there. And the last step is number 6, maintenance tools. So that is all about the space and time organizing system. And that is a really good way for a bit of a start for you. If you're not sure where to start decluttering, follow these steps. And also, it's a good structure for a presentation such as this. Lisa says, how to avoid the musty smell when linens are stored for several months. Also, best way to store bulky blankets. Excellent. We'll definitely talk about bulky blankets. I will just answer Lisa's question here. I think sometimes things do become musty, don't they, when they've been in for a while. Of course, you can get camphor balls and those sorts of natural wooden products that you can put into with your linens that help with that musty smell. But also it might even be interesting if you might need some moisture absorbers in there, which might help reduce that musty smell as well. That's a couple of ideas. And of course, there are some lovely natural oils you can use, essential oils, to be able to help with those smells with your linen as well. So if anyone else has got some other ideas for Lisa about avoiding musty smells with linens, pop that in the chat for us and I'll come back to it. Now we'll talk about bulky blankets as we go through the storage steps. So Lisa, thanks so much for that question. Let's go on to, as I said at the start of the session, what is a linen press? As I said, that's what I've always called it growing up. I don't know if it was my grandmother that would call it a linen press. I don't know where it came from, but that's what I call it. But traditionally, a linen press, or just a press, is a cabinet, usually of wood, such as oak, walnut, mahogany, designed for storing sheets, table napkins, clothing, and other textiles. So that's what we are going to be looking at: storing, organizing, decluttering, all of those things. If you haven't had a chance yet, pop in the chat. What do you call it? Do you call it a linen press, linen closet, a cupboard? Let me know, just out of interest's sake. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. And we are going to start that by the first step, which is stop the stuff. I find it very difficult to work in people's homes, particularly a lot of people that I work with. I'm there each week or each fortnightly, maybe once a month. And each time I go there, more and more things are coming into their home, and it's completely overwhelming for me and for them. And it really makes it difficult to get on top of what you have in the home if more and more things are coming in. So I highly recommend to you guys and to my people when I'm working with them to stop the stuff from coming in the front door in the first place. We go through this when we were talking about paper a couple of weeks ago. Anything in the home, let's stop more stuff from coming in because that makes it more of a chance that we can get on top of this clutter if we have less stuff in the house in the first place. So what's the big deal of having too much in the linen press? Well, often it makes it difficult to be able to find things, difficult to put things away. So there's just no room to put those towels back in. So they just get stuffed in there, or they might even just be laid around somewhere else. It can be overwhelming to look at, and it can make you avoid the task. I've had that many times before. People will say, well, you know, there's no room to put anything away, so it just sort of lies around the house. So if we stop bringing more things in, we have less stuff in our linen press. Putting things away is much easier for us. We're not, you know, having to be a superhuman and squish things together to be able to fit them into the cupboard where they live. It goes, oh, that's where the towels go, and we very easily put them away. And this always makes me remember, it's probably more in the storage step, but I'll tell the story now anyway. But I'm not naturally an organized person. I have to work pretty hard on it. My natural instinct is to open the linen press, and this is the example I use all the time, is open it, stuff the things in the linen press and get on with the next job. But then when I come back to the linen press the next time, I can't find anything. It's overwhelming. It's a big jumble. So over the years, I have taught myself to take the few extra seconds that it does to fold it neatly and to put it back in its right place so that you can easily find things the next time. But we will continue to talk through these steps that are going to make it easier to find things and to put things away. We will talk about decluttering as we go in. And as that last sentence there says, when you have too many items, it can be difficult to keep them organized and tidy, which can lead to a cluttered and disorganized space. So let's stop more things from coming in to make it easier. I'm going to have a look at the chat while we're here. Karen says her bed linens and large towels are in part of my wardrobe unit. I don't have enough large enough cupboard, and hand towels are another freestanding cupboard. I love it, Karen. You found that some of those big bath towels that are, you know, wider than your wingspan can be very big when you fold them. So it's wonderful that you found a spot in your wardrobe unit to put them, because particularly if you're in an older house, you are right. You can't fit our big towels in that cupboard. So I'm glad you found somewhere else to put them, and hand towels in another freestanding cupboard. Good on you. So create that storage that works for you in your home. Congratulations. All right, we are going to talk a little bit more about stop the stuff, and I'd love to hear your suggestions. How can we stop more linen from coming into the house? Please put your ideas in the chat box below. Another important way, of course, to stop more things coming into the house is be very mindful with your next purchasing decisions. Make sure you actually really do need it. Make sure it serves the right purpose and you've got somewhere to put it. So, have a bit of a tidy up, a bit of a declutter before you even go to the shops. Let go of the old ones, and then you can have somewhere neat and tidy and nice to be able to put the new items when you come home. Implement the 1 in, 1 out rule. So every time you bring in a new towel or a set of face washers, something like that, make sure you let go of 1, if not 2, before you bring the new one home. And then also set some rules. And I'm going to talk about this a few times today, about set some rules about the amount of linen that you have in your home. There are no hard and fast rules, but I often say to people, just for ballpark, maybe 3 towels per person. So that would be, we've got four people in our house. So 3 times 4 is 12. So 12 towels should be plenty for people, a family of my size. But my sister-in-law and brother-in-law have 6 children, so 8 people altogether. 3 times that many would be, I think that would be too many towels. So just have a little bit, think about what are some of those rules that you will set for yourself. As I said, I will come up with some more of those rules in a minute about the different things in our linen press that we can have some rules for. So did anyone else come up with some ideas on how can we stop more stuff? So we're saying be mindful of the purchases going in the future. Use the 1 in, 1 out rule and give yourself and set your own rules, create your own, so that when you're out shopping that you really know whether you need to purchase something or not. So that's all about stopping more stuff from coming in. So the next step, the second step in the space and time organizing system is your commitment to being organized. And this is all about the fact that there is no organizing fairy. Unfortunately, she doesn't come in the middle of the night and tidy up your linen press. If that was the case, you wouldn't be here today. So what the idea is, you need to make the commitment that I am an organized person and I will start to act as an organized person does. And as I was just saying very briefly before, an organized person would, as I've taught myself over the years, fold things neatly and put them in the linen press. Again, we will talk about how we can make a bit more room in the linen press shortly. But this is an important part here. Let's make a commitment to being organized and let's literally schedule it in the diary to make some time to do it. And Mary Lou, we might share the link right now if you've got it there for the weekly planner. Thank you so much. So that people can literally schedule out their week. So put your commitments in for the week, put your work, your volunteering, picking up the kids, grandkids, whatever it might be, but also let's make some time to get started on your linen press. All right, we want it neat and tidy. When are you going to do it? If it's not in the diary, it doesn't exist and it won't happen. So put that time in, maybe 10 minutes, a couple of times a week, maybe a couple of times a day, depending on how much work you've got to do. I would really like you to let us know when that's going to be. Put that in the chat. When are you going to start? And I suggest start small. Start with just 10 minutes, a couple of times a day, and you'll build up the momentum to be able to work through your linen press and then move on to the next part in your home as well if you have other decluttering and organizing to do. So as I said, there is no magic wand. Getting organized doesn't just happen because we want it to. We need to take those steps. And this is one of the best ways that I know to do, and that is to put the time in the diary. Just like going to the dentist, going to the doctor, catching up with a friend for a coffee. We know that we need to schedule these times into our diary and really make it a priority. And don't break that time. Don't just go, oh, I don't feel like it. Sit down and do the 10 minutes anyway. There's soon enough, once you get started, you'll get energized and be really proud of yourself for having a go at it. So this is how we're doing it, just breaking it down into small bits. And this is how we're going to get started on your clutter and how you can show to yourself that you are committed to being organized. So step 3 is sort the stuff. And as I said, I love this step in the space and time organizing system. I love sorting out a junk drawer. I love going through old cables and tidying them up. I love sorting paperwork into the different categories, but I do also love sorting out and seeing the natural flow and seeing it all come together when we start to sort a linen press. So what you could do is you could grab a shelf, everything off of whichever shelf in your linen press you want to start on, and you could either take it into another room to start sorting it out, or maybe you would take a small table, a fold-up table into the space where you have your linen, and start to put like items together. So we want to put sheets together, towels together, tablecloths, face washers, bath mats, hand towels, whatever types of linen you have in your linen press. We're going to start sorting it. Now, you might quickly see some things as we're going that you're happy to get rid of right now. But this step is really just the sorting. It's so that you can see what you've got and start to really see if you have any gaps. Oh, I've only got 2 face washers. Maybe I could buy another one. Face cloth, whatever you call a face washing device. And also just to be able to, as I said, see what you've got. And that will help us make more decisions going forwards about what we're going to keep and what we're going to let go. And then once we've started that sort of sorting, we're going to sort it even further. We're going to sort by the size of the sheets, for example. Let's put our double sheets together. Let's put our queen sheets together. And again, this is just going to help us have the different piles and different categories of our linen. And you might go, holy moly, I do have way too much. And this can be really good motivator to go, okay, yep, I really do need to do something about this. And it's just a really good way to get us into the right mind for the next step, which is letting go. But let me know what you think of this sorting step. Would you find it easy to do? Again, we would just be doing a 10-minute session, and you could do multiple of them. But sometimes it's just nice and easy to start one shelf, literally put the timer on, use your watch or use your phone or a kitchen timer, and make the time to be able to start that sorting step and to see what you've got. And you never know what you might find squished up amongst the towels and the different treasure you might find. I've got a client that has been asking me to help with their linen press for quite a few weeks because they're pretty sure they've stashed some money in there. So that's going to be a bit like a treasure hunt when we get a chance to do that. So looking forward to doing that. Let me know what you think the sorting step would be like. As I said, I love the sorting. It just really, it just starts to explain what you've got rather than just look at this, wall of the linen. When you've got it out on a table or wherever you're sorting, it can be really helpful for this whole process. So the 4th step is things you no longer need. So this is the decluttering step. So bearing in mind, I didn't start the session going, today we're going to get rid of things we no longer need. We started all the way back at the first step with the idea of stopping more things from coming in, because that means we're going to get on top of our clutter rather than it's a never-ending battle. And then the second step, we're going, yes, I really do want to get committed. And this 3rd step was sorting it. So when we've got all these nice sorted piles in front of us, whether you've done the whole linen press or whether you've just done the one shelf, you can start to decide which are those things that you are happy to let go of. And of course, one of the first things that we can let go is worn out linen. So you might have some old sheets or old towels that you can let go. I'm not saying just let go of them for the sake of it, but there is a use by date for our linen, for our towels. And we can mend things as we go along. We can patch them and get the most out of. We can. I'm not saying just, as I said, not just get rid of things willy-nilly, but there is a shelf life on these things. So give yourself permission to let go of those older items, which will make room, as we spoke about, for the stuff that you do use. Like there might be some old things in the bottom of your linen press that you haven't used for years. So have a think about letting them go to make more space and make it easier for you to get things in and out of your linen press. We also spoke about the 1 in, 1 out rule. So if you are bringing a new set of sheets home, might be some new winter flannelette sheets. Let's make sure we let go of the old set as we're going along. And also find some places to donate your old linen, like the Lost Dogs Home. We have the RSPCA that looks after animals here in Australia. All around the world, they will have organisations that would be happy to take your old linen. Just check with them exactly what they do take. It's usually some towels and sheets and those sorts of things, but not necessarily feather doonas, and because the dogs and things would just rip them apart. So contact them and see what you can donate. Sometimes knowing that things are going to have a second life, it makes it much easier for us to let the things go. So find some good donation places near you, and you can do that by Googling where to donate items near me, or how to donate sheets near me, that type of thing, and different options will come up. That fourth point that I've got there says not sure with the question mark. Well, if you're not sure, maybe hang on to it for now and start using it again. And maybe soon enough you'll go, oh gosh, I wish I'd been using this sooner, if you've found something in your linen press that they haven't used for a while. Or you might go, oh, okay, that's right. That's why I stopped using this towel, because it's really itchy and it doesn't really dry me very well. So if you're unsure, hang on to it for now, start using it, check it out, see if it's going to work for you, and then you can make the decision if you're going to keep it or let it go. And then also that last point there, I've got, if you're on Facebook, look up your local Buy Nothing group. I have got rid of so much stuff and so much of my client stuff recently by these local Buy Nothing groups. So it's normally, Buy Nothing and put your local suburb this in the search in Facebook. And you just never know what people are going to need. Like I've got rid of plastic bags, paper bags, old fabric, good fabric, all sorts of things in my home that I don't want anymore and my clients don't want. So just because you don't want it doesn't mean other people won't use it. You will be amazed what people use. So if you've got some old towels that just, you just don't like them, or just not the right thing for you anymore, put them on there, put a photo on that Buy Nothing group, and I'm pretty sure somebody will take up what you're offering. Karen says, I definitely need to let go of some of them. She says, hopefully some of these techniques are helpful to you here. So let go of the old stuff, use the 1 in, 1 out rule. Don't find some good places to donate. Here are another couple of tips in this step, the things you no longer need. And I often suggest that you go through your linen regularly. So we often do some spring cleaning or cleaning at the end of the year. They're good times, but maybe you could go through it more often than that. And the more you practice letting things go, the easier it becomes and the better that you get at letting things go. Another good way to be able to help you let go of things you no longer need is to get rid of the duplicates, and particularly the older items. But there might be, you just have too many towels and can't fit them. So maybe you could let them go. Or they're an old color scheme or something like that. You've recently renovated and it doesn't go with your new color scheme. So let go of those duplicates. I tell a story about the vegetable peelers in my kitchen. There's about 7 vegetable peelers in there. If I downsize to a smaller kitchen, that some of those vegetable peelers probably could go if I didn't have room for them. So it's the same principle about the duplicates. Let them go if you don't need so many. And then I promise some other rules that you can set for yourself about how many of things that you keep, which might help you be able to let some more things go. Perhaps 2 sets of sheets per bed and a couple of spares might be enough. So you've sort of got 1 set of sheets on the bed, 1 in the wash, and then a couple of spares for the house, just in case there's an accident of some sort, which happens from time to time. maybe a couple of towels per person, as I mentioned before, and a few spares, and maybe just a handful of old towels for spills. Over the last couple of years, we have used our old towels. One of the inlet to the toilet, so it's clean water. The inlet to the toilet sprung a leak. Luckily, we hadn't been out of the home for very long, so there wasn't too much water in the house, but we used all our old towels for mopping that up. And our washing machine, something happened with that recently and water went everywhere. So sometimes some of those old towels are handy to have, but don't hang on to every old towel you've ever owned. You know, just keep that to a minimum 5, 10 at the most. Set those rules for yourself. Have you got any of those sorts of rules at home that you use for your linen? We'd love to hear from you. Pop it in the chat below and let me know as well. So what rules are you using, and which of these things that I've told you about letting things go is the most helpful today? I would love to hear your thoughts in the chat. Is it the rules? Is that helpful? Is it sorting? Is it getting rid of the duplicates? Which tip did you like today about the decluttering step? So now I'm going to move on to the 5th step of the space and time organizing system, and that's easy storage. Now, this 5th step is deliberately in the 5th position because we've done a lot of great work to get us up to the storage part. So we've sorted and we've decluttered. Now we've got a smaller amount of stuff to store, and that means we can decide where we're going to store it and how we're going to store it. If we just decided to start storing things all the way back at the beginning of the session today, we would be juggling all sorts of things that we don't really need to, because we need to declutter it and get rid of it, not just to organize it. This step again is in this spot of the 5th step, because when I go to people's homes, I often see lots of containers and baskets and organizing equipment that just aren't right for the job. We really need to be going through the decluttering to see what we're going to use and how we're going to use it, which is really going to help us determine how we're going to store it. So we'll be talking about some different storage options in a minute. So that's the 5th step, was easy storage. Don't forget to tell me from that previous step, what was the best tip on letting things go? And also, was there something I didn't mention that you have used, a good rule for you? Excuse me. So continuing on easy storage for your stuff, what we can do to even make what we've currently got in our linen press look more appealing and easier to find and easier to store is to fold your linen neatly and uniformly. Excuse me, I got a frog. So if you can fold them in a similar shape, a similar size, and that size is really determined by the depth of your shelves in your linen press. Or perhaps, as one of the girls said before, that she keeps her linen so wherever you're storing your linen, which is normally where you're using it, you certainly can. As I said in the bottom note here, the bottom line about keeping your linen for that particular bed in the particular room. So in your master bedroom, you might have the linen for that room in there. And particularly if you've got upstairs, downstairs, and your linen press is downstairs, it might be a really good idea to have the linen for that bedroom, that right size, double bed, queen size, king, whatever it might be, in that bedroom. But I was saying about folding your linen neatly. Actually, who is a folder and who's a roller? Does anybody roll their linen? Would love to know about that and whether that works for you. But it really is worth taking the time, as I taught myself all those years ago, to, take the time to stop, to fold it neatly, because if it is neat and in a nice size, it's much easier to put in, and you can get much more into your spaces when they are neatly organized. Also, you could label the shelf for easy access. On the left, there's a picture with some lovely labels that I saw on Etsy. So that's the king size doona covers, there's king sheets. So that tells people where to go to be able to retrieve them and go and put them on the bed. Or if they're putting them back in the cupboard and there's nothing on that shelf, they go, oh, that one says king covers. Well, that's where the king size cover goes. So have a bit of a think and an idea if that's going to work for you about labeling the shelves. And also label your sheets as well. Actually, on the tag, some of the people are clever enough to put queen size sheets when they manufacture them. Why everybody doesn't do it is absolutely mind-boggling to me. I have no idea why they would not tell us what size the sheets are. As I said, a lot do, but some don't. But if yours isn't labeled, give yourself a Sharpie, text right on there on the label, or you can buy clips that clip onto the sheets to be able to tell you what size it is. And then that will help you as well when you're putting things away in your neatly organized cupboard. So yeah, have a go at that. Fold it nice and neatly and put similar items together, the same size sheets. Label the shelf and also label your sheets and items as well so that you can find them easily. I'm just going to go to the chat. Chat says this that set the rule works for me. Mary Lou said that. Thanks, Mary Lou. That is a good one. Set your own rules. I think that is excellent. Lisa says so many extra pillowcases in her closet. Any good uses for them that you know of? You may have seen some people store a whole set that goes together in a pillowcase. It's not quite what you're suggesting, but you can put a flat sheet, fitted sheet, the doona cover, and the pillowcase in a pillowcase, roll it up neatly and put it on the shelf. That works really well. But you could store things in them. You can use them if you're packing. I have my doona covers, no, not doona covers, the actual doona and sleeping bags rolled up in my extra pillowcases. But somebody else might have some ideas for extra pillowcases if they want to put their ideas below. But Lisa, I'd highly recommend you, if you decide the ones that you can let go of, jump onto the Buy Nothing groups. Somebody will want them. They'll want them for the fabric, or they'll have lots of different ideas to do with them as well. Karen says she's a folder rather than a roller, and she stores her sets in the pillowcases too. Yeah, that is a good option. Thank you very much for sharing all of that. So yeah, has anyone else got any ideas for Lisa on what to do with extra pillowcases? Pop your ideas below. Another couple of ideas for for storage before we go on to the next step. As I mentioned, take a few extra seconds to fold them neatly. It makes storage so much simpler. Fold them or roll them. Sometimes that can be a really good option if you have a lot of things you're trying to fit into a smaller space. Fold the linen to fit on the shelf, as I suggested. Some of those big towels can be difficult to get on a shelf. And put your washing away daily. So don't let it just sit around the house. Do it regularly, and knowing that your linen press is ready to receive your stuff. Fold it nice and neat, get it in there, and make a habit of doing this daily so that you can enjoy your nice, neat and tidy home, because there's not washing hanging all over the place. Clean laundry. Right, quickly going to whip through these storage options, and this will come up with the idea of how to store the bulky blankets somebody asked earlier on today. You can get foldable storage boxes. I'll show you a photo of that in a moment. Actually, let me flick quickly. So these sorts of things that you can put your blankets and perhaps your out of season things in here, but it might also just be a good way to keep sheet sets together in a box, and you could put a label on the outside of it so that you know where your linen is. Keeps the dust out of it. Again, this might be a good option if you just haven't got a separate cupboard to call and to use as a linen press. This might go in the top of your walk-in robe to keep your linen together. So a really good way of keeping it together on the one shelf. And of course, don't forget about the vacuum seal storage bags. So they're really good for flipping together number of items in a bag. I've used these for a lot of clients. Probably worth spending a little bit more money on them, so that's a thicker plastic and they can last a little bit longer. And then making sure that you are putting them in a nice safe spot. I used to use some of these and put them under the kids' bed, and unfortunately the bed had a bit of a spiky spring or something, and we ended up making a hole in one of the bags, so it didn't work very well. Did still keep the dust out, but it didn't keep it down to a nice concise size. But these can be really good. I would prefer that you let a lot of stuff go so that you're not having to do this and come up with using these extra storage ideas, but sometimes we just can't help it. There just isn't enough storage in the home. So really do have a good clear out, a good declutter before you come to this type of option. But these can, as I said, be great for that out of season storage, for blankets, for doonas, any of those big bulky items. Has anybody used this type of thing for their linen? We'd love to hear from you. And then the last one is these types of hanging bags. What would we call it? We're going back to here, hanging linen shelves. So these can be put, somewhere in your home, usually hanging over your wardrobe rail. And then this gives you a little bit of extra storage space, like a shelf within your wardrobe. So again, you could just put the things, if you were doing this in your master bedroom, you might just have the things for your room, your towels, your sheets, your special things. That might be a good thing as well to keep the teenagers away from it. I do that with some of my extra special linen, and have certainly bought the boys their own towels that they can use rather than use the ones that I like to use. And then also, while I think about that, particularly with teens and kids, if you can allocate, well, these are your towels, this is your particular color of towel, or these are yours with your name on it, and do not take anybody else's that does not have your name on it, then they can be responsible for it as well, and learn to bring it back to the bathroom, hang it up, and, as I say, be responsible for their own towel. Just made me thinking about teens and kids with towels. So perhaps allocate a color or put a name tag on it or something, so they are responsible for their own towel. So that's 3 different ideas here. So we're talking about to get some extra storage if you haven't got a linen press, or you might even put this in your linen press, this type of fabric box to keep things together and keep the dust off, the vacuum storage bag if you really need to condense what you have, and some extra storage as well. So that's all about storage. What was a good tip that you saw in the storage section? Pop it in the comments below so that we can share and have a good idea of what you enjoyed with that step. So we are going to move on to the last step, which is step 6 of the space and time organizing system. We're going very well. We've got 15 minutes. How awesome. So step 6 is all about making being organized a part of your daily life. It's just not something that we do spring cleaning. It's not just something we do every 6 months. Being organized, as we said right back at the second step, is a commitment. Organized people are that way because they take organized action. They are deliberate with their choices. They're deliberate with how they use their time. and regularly sorting through your linen is a good way to do that. And when you're doing it regularly, it should take a shorter amount of time as well. Like if you do your linen press, say on the weekend, it's Thursday here today in Melbourne, do it on the weekend. If you did it again in another 3 months, that should be much easier to do. And you go, oh, well, that's right, I haven't used that towel in the last 3 months. I'm going to start using that. So if you're doing it regularly, can be a really great way to get better at decluttering and organizing, because you're practicing those skills. We talked about diarizing the time to action it. So let me know again. Let's make a commitment now. Pop in the chat when you are going to tackle your linen press. And I also want you to put it in your diary. Write it in your paper diary, or put it in your calendar, your online calendar, and let me know what day, what time is that going to be that you're going to do this job. And also know yourself. Choose the time of day when you've got lots of energy. I'm not talking about doing a whole day of decluttering here. It's even tiring for me, and I do it every day. But just doing, choosing the time of day. Are you a morning person? Are you having more energy in the afternoon? Please don't declutter in the middle of the night if you can help it, and give yourself a timer if you are doing it late at night. I'd rather you be sleeping, but knowing yourself and when your energy is high is a great time to do decluttering. And also, as I mentioned, let's do all of these 6 steps regularly. Let's occasionally go, oh, yes, let's stop more stuff from coming in the house. And then review, am I being committed to being organized? Am I being, acting like an organized person? Let's do some sorting. Let's let go of things we no longer need, re-look at the storage, and then the maintenance. So let's, revisit them often and stay committed to being organized. As I said, this is not something we're just going to do today. It's something that we want to do often. We'd love to hear, which habit are you going to continue with to be organized? All right, looking back at the notes, thank you very much, everyone, for your comments. Mary Lou said, I like the hanging linen shelves. I do too, Mary Lou. Thank you for finding them for me. Karen said, I've used a few of the hanging shelves over the years. They are handy to have extra space, Karen, and just, just the right amount, perhaps. So it's a really good one, really nice idea. And Mary Lou again says she will try the hanging linen shelves, and she does use the foldable storage as well. Yeah, so excellent. Good on you. What else has been helpful today in the session? Just before we wrap up, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What have I missed? We've got a few minutes. I could certainly cover something if I haven't covered what you need to. So please pop that in and we can have a look. So as I say, this maintenance is all about making being organized a part of our daily lives. Even as far back as the start of the day, do you get out of bed early enough to do all the things that you want to do in your day? And do you really need to do all those things that are on your to-do list? They're the types of things that I'll be talking to you about if you would like to join the program, the 6-week program that I will mention shortly. Just quickly going back to the chat, I plan to commit to 1 shelf each day for a week. Fantastic. Lisa, that's awesome. How do you fold a bottom sheet? That's my favorite thing to do as well. Mary Lou, that's something I better do for a reel, folding a fitted sheet. It's basically put all the elastic together so you can fold the sheet in half, end to end, so all the elastic is together, and then putting the seams that put the sheet together as well, folding them together, and then folding it from there. But that's something I better do very soon. Just Google it, Lisa. There are some awesome ways to do it, and they are very simple. Usually do need a flat surface, makes it easier, a table or something. But putting that elastic together is a really good start of the fitted sheet, because that can bring it together and then they can just fold up just as neatly as a flat sheet. But that's really something that I need to do. We can maybe, Mary Lou, even find one and share it before I get a chance to record my own. But keep an eye out for that. Great question, because it really does make a big difference if you can fold it well. All right, let me quickly go on to the summary page. We had a look at the whole system. As we said, we stopped more stuff from coming in. We got committed to being organised, sorted into like items. We let go of the items we no longer needed. We set up the permanent homes for things, and we made being organised a part of everyday life. So as I said, make sure we ask any other questions. We've still got 9 minutes, so any other questions? But don't forget that I have got this special program that is a one-on-one online decluttering program. If you would like to get focused and get organised, 6 slots of 1-hour sessions and a 15-minute call to me during the week, a workbook with a 30-day checklist, and a private Facebook group. So all of that together with all of those sessions, we could really help you on your decluttering journey, and that special price of $8.97. And Mary Lou has put the link in the chat there if you would like to join me on that 6-week program. As I said, it is just a one-on-one. It'll just me and you. If you really are committed to getting organised, let's get it done. We'd love to work with you via Zoom for those 6 hourly sessions. And our next free workshop is in 2 weeks at the same time, and it's all about getting the kids back to school on time. And it's actually on Thursday, the 16th of Feb at 10 o'clock Melbourne time. And as I said, same time as today, just in 2 weeks' time. So if you have any kids or grandkids that you need to get ready for school every day, and it's normally yelling and screaming and carrying on, and everyone ends up at school and at work exhausted, come along and I'll share tips about getting organised for the kids. So that's the link there as well. Mary Lou has put the link in the chat. Follow that to be able to register and come along to that free workshop. And also there's a special 15-minute chat just for coming along today. I would love to talk to you specifically about your decluttering and organising you need to do at home. Let's make today, as I said, part of the journey, not just something fun that we've done this morning. Either send me an email or book in for a 15-minute strategy call. Mary Lou will put that link in the chat shortly. So what questions have we got? You can either unmute yourself and ask the question, or pop it in the chat as well. Otherwise, because I'm sure there's something that I've missed, that somebody came here today and we didn't get a chance to go through it. If you haven't, so what questions have you got, and what's been the top tip of the day? Let me know. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Mary Lou. Mary Lou's just put how to fold a fitted sheet in the chat. So anyone that's interested in how to fold that bottom sheet with the elastic around it, have a look at that. I'm interested to see that too. As I said, Mary Lou, it might be something that we can do here to share with people, because it does make such a difference to your linen press if you just take that little bit more time to do it. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Karen says, top tip was to look at the Facebook groups that might need or want stuff. Karen, that has been absolutely mind-boggling for me. I had all sorts of stuff around the home, old jars, peanut butter jars, plastic bags that had just been kicking around for ages that I just didn't have the need for anymore, that she had, that somebody else will want, that kids will use it for school, or somebody's having a fair, so they're going to take all the paper bags that we have, all sorts of things as well that I've just put out for people to pick up. That's awesome. Lisa says it's nice to have motivation to focus on this task. Thank you and for the great advice. You are welcome, Lisa, and I completely agree. If we're just looking at this one little task, we're not looking at the whole house, We can get the whole house done between now and the end of the year, but let's look at perhaps the next week, the next 2 weeks, let's look at just the linen press before we do the next one. After getting to school on time, we might end up doing digital decluttering. I'm not 100% sure what's on the radar just yet, but let us know as well what else you might like to look at next. What else did other people like? We've just got a couple more minutes or one last question before we head off. Been great. Thank you all for coming along. Thank you again, Lisa. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Karen. I think we lost a couple of people along the way. Mary Lou, thank you. I know you do love the space and time system. It just is so helpful. Those step-by-step makes my life so much easier. When I'm working with people, I'll go, hang on a minute, you're getting a bit too far ahead of yourself. We're still doing the decluttering. We're not ready for storage yet. So it really is a great way to get started. Thank you to Karen. Thank you, everybody. We will send the recording out if you need to brush up later on and re-watch it. Mary Lou will send that out. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Come along and to the next workshop. Let me know if you'd like to do those one-on-one sessions. And if you know anyone in Melbourne that needs the help to declutter and get organised, please pass on my details. I look forward to seeing you at the next session in 2 weeks, and thank you so much for your time. Bye for now.